Before I go on to why, I want to make it clear that I'm not talking from an apocalyptic standpoint. I don't predict that the end is nigh. I don't think that if we make the mistake of not upgrading our broadband network, then the internet will collapse. So what I'm saying is not underpinned by a sense of pessimism, but one of optimism. The belief that a next generation network in the UK could bring innovation and opportunity that would be truly impressive. Okay, so I suppose I need to deal with what's wrong with the current network. Well, the shortest answer I can give is nothing. There's little that the consumer can do in Japan, where broadband speeds are 24 times faster, that we can't do here, albeit slightly slower. But at the same time, the technological renaissance we're experiencing is not built on the adage, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Imagine Mark Zuckerberg saying, sure, email and instant messaging keep people in touch just fine. We can send pictures as attachments. Who needs to bother with social networking? I don't think that the fact that our network is not facing an imminent collapse is a reason for ignoring the fact that we need to upgrade it. We're falling behind huge parts of the globe when it comes to our broadband network. According to figures from the OECD, we're below 11 other countries in download speeds, including Japan, Korea, Finland. We're also below the mean average of all 30 states that the OECD monitors. The average speed in the UK is about 4 megaseconds. Although ISPs do advertise much faster deals, 70% of the UK get speeds below 6 meg. Secondly, the Broadband Stakeholders Group says that by 2012, the level of demand from the most bandwidth-intensive households for downstream and upstream will be beyond the capability of existing infrastructure. And according to YouGov, 30% of customers are already unhappy with their speeds. Finally, and I'll end the statistics here, I promise, in a report by the Communications Management Association, it emerged that 1/3 of businesses say they need a faster connection to remain competitive in the global marketplace. So, what is the solution? Well, again, a short answer is fast fibre to the home, or FTTH. That can carry data up to 100 megabits a second. In Japan, the leading broadband provider, NTT, is going to provide 95% of its customers with this FTTH by 2010. In Hong Kong, the leading broadband provider is giving 80% of its customers this by 2008, the end of this year. And in Korea, 75%. The only problem that in the UK, the figure that keeps on being touted is £15 billion. And that leads me on to the topic of who should pay for it. Well, from my point of view, I now want to discount state funding, or even state subsidies, although I'm sure it's something we'll all talk about. I think there's little appetite for such a project to be paid for through general taxation, especially in the current economic climate. And I also think it's wrong to make content providers pay in any way, shape or form, and that will lead us on, I'm sure, to a debate about net neutrality. One of the internet's best features, in my opinion, is that it is largely neutral, one of the world's freest markets. Innovation would be stifled if smaller companies could not afford to coast alongside the likes of Google when it comes to speed. So that leaves telcos and ISPs. Now, with such a huge investment, there has to be some carrot, and unfortunately for the regulators, the much hated regulatory stick. And I think here in the UK, Ofcom is coming round to the right idea. That a pro-investment model must allow the market some autonomy to regulate its own prices, albeit with checks and balances and safeguards. Whether Europe will follow is another question, and one I don't think we're that close to answering yet. The UK also needs to be weaned off its addiction to tenner a month price plans. Faster broadband will and should cost more. I always use the example of Mabel and Pete here. Mabel's your auntie. She's just got broadband as part of a telephone, television, and internet deal, okay? And she's not using it for very much. She's emailing her son in Australia, and she's doing the family tree research. Down the road, there's Pete. Now, Pete, he spends Pete's sort of a troubled, geeky teenager, and he spends every night downloading films, music, and of course other big files, which I won't explain in such polite company. But I think it's wrong for Mabel to pay for Pete's kicks, okay? And I think we need to revisit pricing. So I just want to end by reiterating that I'm not predicting doomsday here. As a tech journalist, I've always tried to celebrate the huge changes I've seen in my relatively short lifetime. And what I see before us is an opportunity to build important infrastructure that will ensure we remain at the cutting edge of technological innovation. It is, I believe, an opportunity we should grasp firmly. Thank you.